I'm Kelly and this is Kelly Hill Yoga, and today we are going to do a really fun little power practice I have for you all. Super excited about it, and today even better, I'm even more excited to be wearing my super soft tank from Jupmode, repping my hometown in Toledo, the Toledo Zoo, one of my favorite places when I was a little kid. It literally encompasses everything nostalgic about my childhood. So thank you so much to Jupmode for letting me give them a shout out in this video and letting me rep them on my channel and social media. So I am so excited to be back in front of the camera filming for you all. My family unfortunately caught COVID. We were trying to be as careful as possible, but it ended up coming into our lives when we least expected it. 11 months we made it. Being as mindful as possible, and it just knocked us on our butt for the whole entire month of February, so my apologies for not getting content out to you sooner, but here I am back at it, ready to rock and roll with you all. And I did listen to your feedback from that 30 days of yoga that we did throughout the month of January, and I have written this practice just for those of you who wanted to have a little bit more short, condensed, lots of movement-based practice, a little bit further away from that meditation and the more spiritual side of yoga, which is yoga is such a big picture. It can be there's so much more than just movement or just meditation, but this is just one of those practices where it's just hanging out with you, getting some awesome strength and flexibility going today. So when you are ready, come join me and we will lay on our mat to get this party started. We won't need any props today, just you and yourself. Let's come to lay on our back. Gently tuck the shoulders. Keep that pelvis nice and engaged, not activating our core too much, just awareness there. Let's take the feet a little bit wider than hip width, and then just gently let those knees fall in on each other, resting together. Really grounded in the low back. Let both hands come to your sides, palms up or down, your choice. Long through the back of the neck. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here. Like I said, this is for those of you who kind of like to gently guide yourself into practice, really get things moving, and then gently guide yourself out. A lot more movement in today's practice, and that's okay. So just taking a few rounds of breath here. Don't overthink it. Try to keep it as light and organic as possible as we just start to focus on the breath. And doing so has the ability to kind of turn ourselves inward. Start to turn everything else off that's happening, other stimulations. And let's just keep it as simple as possible, just you and yourself right now on the mat. Gently guiding yourself into this practice with an inhale and exhale. We'll just take a few moments just to focus on just the breath. Start to elongate the inhale and exhale. Like I said, don't overthink it, just keep it nice and simple. Awesome. Getting moving right away. Let's start to activate that pelvis, so act like you're pulling that tailbone up towards the chin. And as you do so, we're going to widen the knees and kind of heel toe those feet back to hip width. So we set up to come into bridge pose. So nice and grounded in our feet. We're activated in our midsection, so our core is nice and activated by taking that tailbone and almost trying to tilt it up towards your face or head. And then we're just pulling that belly button, really trying to ground the low back as much as possible. You should feel this activation. Feel your pelvis shift when you do this. Just really strong and mindful. Now let's drive through both feet. Rise up to bridge. Don't have to worry about height too much on this first round. We are going to go through a couple of rounds, just activating that posterior train, getting some movement. Squeezing those thighs to midline. Exhale, slowly roll it down one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, drive, curling that tailbone up, rolling one vertebrae up at a time to drive back up to bridge. Finding a little bit more height this time, really squeezing those thighs together. Exhale, roll it down. Beautiful. Last one, tailbone last to touch. Drive through the feet to rise up to this bridge. Staying here, if you can, we're going to lift the right leg up, heel to heaven. Nice. If you have to have a nice bend in the leg, that's okay too. Lifting that right leg up. Exhale, lower down. Drive through that left foot to rise back up. Beautiful. Exhale, lower back down. Last one. Drive through that left foot, lifting that right heel to heaven. Exhale, lower back down. Awesome. Gently bring that right foot down. Drive through both feet again. Rise back up to that bridge. Left leg comes up this time, staying up in the bridge. Exhale, slowly lower down. Drive through that right foot, lift the left foot up to heaven. It's okay if you have to have a bend in the knee. Exhale, lower back down. Last one, driving everything up, squeezing at the top. Exhale, lowering back down. I'm feeling everything. Let's go ahead and hug the knees into the chest. Release that low back, rock side to side. And definitely feeling a little bit of a difference pre-COVID or post-COVID as opposed to where I was post or pre-COVID. Post and pre, a little confused today. So I'm trying to get back on the wagon afterwards, but just loving being back on my mat after so much fatigue, being here with you all. So just gently rocking, lowering, or rocking that low back, massaging it a little. Awesome. Let's just do a couple circles by taking the hands on the knees. Just do a couple little circles either direction, and then we'll take the knees separated. Just kind of wake things up that way too. Switch directions, taking the knees wide. Awesome. Hug the knees back into the chest, really activated. So pull that belly button to the ground, almost like you're trying to stick it to the ground, not let it move. Lift the shoulders and forehead to the knees, so you're in this little ball, trying not to use your hands to pull yourself up. Use your midsection or your core to pull your chest. So by pulling that belly button further to the ground, it should pull your chest and shoulders up, really keeping everything nice and grounded. Let's take the arms and lift them up, fingers reaching up, staying nice and strong in our core. And then we're going to lift the feet up, so both our hands and our feet, really trying to drive the feet forward as the hands are kind of like opposite directions, squeezing everything, lifting everything up off the ground as much as possible. If you only have a little bit off the ground, that's okay. Try not to have it in your neck and shoulders, keeping everything from your core nice and strong. And then we're going to keep our hands just how they are. Exhale, slowly lower the feet down. Nice and strong, stable. Beautiful. Slowly lower that chest and shoulders down. Reach the arms up and overhead. Point the toes. Stretch everything out. Awesome. And if however you want to get there, we're going to rock up to seated, or sorry, to tabletop. Just a couple of rounds of cat and cow, getting that spine moving. Just kind of getting some momentum, natural range of motion. So you can just do the traditional cat and cow here, where we inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin. Exhale, tuck the chin, pull the belly button to the spine. Just roll through a couple of these, nice and controlled with the breath, or if you want to find any other little bits of motion, you can, whether it's wanting to circle the hips, kind of transition the shoulders. Just make sure they don't creep up to those ears too much. If they are, take a second just to pull everything away from the ears. Nice long neck. The beautiful thing about yoga is it allows us to be as mindful as we can spatially where our body is. So right now you should know where every square inch of your body is relative to each other. It's not necessarily just about working on glutes, working on abs. It's all one big movement together. Once we roll through a couple of rounds of that cat-cow, now let's gently tuck the toes, shift the hips up and back. Our first downward dog. So if you want to have a nice generous bend in the knees, this first round of downward dog, you're more than welcome to. I like to start out with a nice generous bend and then gently guide my legs to a bit more straight. And straight is kind of a relative term in yoga. It's not about being as straight as an arrow. It's still having that little micro bend in our joints. So our muscles and tendons and ligaments, everything's kind of activated. We're not really straining or stressing. So just if you need to find a little bit of organic movement in this downward dog, you're more than welcome to. Or if you want to hang out in just a few moments of stillness, that's your choice. Beautiful. One nice deep inhale. Exhale, release any tension. Inhale, three-legged dog. Right leg up. Exhale, knee to right elbow. Inhale, back to three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee to left elbow. And this time you can either choose to stay here, or if you want to straighten through that right leg, come up onto our side for this modified side plank. Exhale, bring everything back down and transition back up to that three-legged dog. And then step gently in between the hands into runner's lunge. Nice and strong, hips really nice and low. Gently lower that back knee. Take both hands, start to pull the chest forward, shoulders really strong, chest forward. Take both hands, reach behind you, palms face the earth, and rise up to this low lunge. So hanging out here just for a moment, nice and strong. Chest really pulled forward, left hip pulled forward, right hip comes back. Now we're going to either bring our hands to our heart space for this transition, or you may keep them at your sides. If you have to do a couple little hops, we're going to drive up into Warrior 3. So you can either do it from right here if you're a superhero, or if you kind of want to transition points, come back to the fingertips and then drive up into that Warrior 3. Trying to be as strong as possible in that right leg. One long line, crown of your head all the way to the tip of that lifted leg. That left hip is pointed down towards the ground. We're not opening up on this left side. Really strong and stable. Awesome. Gently step that left foot to meet the right. Forward fold. Awesome. Gently rock back and forth in this forward fold. Hanging out. Beautiful. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins or thighs, nice long spine. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, root to rise, so ground through both feet as both arms come up and overhead. Palms to the chest. One round of breath, just bringing ourselves back into that mental focus we had at the beginning. Keeping it simple, not overthinking today. Today is a little bit more about just movement, getting some energy built up. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, and if you want to, you can transition right to downward dog, or if you want to go through a vinyasa of your choosing, you're more than welcome to. Just whichever you feel like you want to add to your practice today, or not necessarily have in your practice. It's okay, neither way is better than the other. If you're not feeling it and having a bunch of vinyasas in your practice, it's actually probably better than forcing yourself to do something and creating negative energy than it would to be by listening to your body and just transitioning back to that downward dog and being okay with it. All right, let's take everything to the other side. So inhale, left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Once again, choose to stay here or transition back to downward dog. Or if you want, extend that left leg. You can let it rest on the ground as we reach the right arm up for this modified side plank. Gently bring the right arm back down. Transition back up to that three-legged dog. Exhale, gently step between the hands. Nice fun transition, getting the energy levels built up. I'm out of breath too, so it's totally okay. Let's think about pulling those shoulders away as we're in this beautiful runner's lunge. Hips nice and low, shoulders strong, fingertips on the ground. Gently lower the back knee as we rise up to this low lunge. Hands really pulled away, palms face forward, nice and strong. Gently opening up the chest, really thinking about pulling the right hip forward, keeping the hips as square as possible. And like I said, you can transition from here to Warrior 3, or if you want to bring those fingertips back down and then drive up to Warrior 3, however you need to get there. If you have to do a couple little hops like I just did, find your focal point, find your strength by really pushing the earth away from you. Find that concentration for a few rounds of breath. Super wobbly today on this left side, so I almost fall out of it. Inhale. Exhale, gently step that right foot to meet the left. Forward fold. Awesome. Getting that heart pumping, loving it. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on the shins, crown of the head really pulled forward. Exhale, fold forward. Generous bend. Bend those knees, drive through the feet to rise up to standing, arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms to chest. Awesome. Really think about pulling these shoulders down and away from the ears as they started to creep forward. We spend a lot of time in front of us in our world, whether it's on screens, watching YouTube videos. These ones are good though, don't ignore this. So watching anything on screens, our body almost compensates for that and starts to roll forward. Our shoulders start to roll forward. This is why it's so beautiful about yoga. It teaches us to be mindful in all of the planes of our body, all the planes in physics. So in front of us, to each side, from the ground to the sky, all of these spatial references. So we're aware in the front of our body, in the back, keeping everything activated. Belly button pulled to the spine. Inhale, both arms go up and overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Let's stay right here. So in this halfway lift, now let's take the hands and reach behind us, just like we did when we were in that low lunge, palms face down, shoulders pulled really down and away. Take a generous bend in the knees, so it's all about keeping our spine nice and flat. We're just gonna hang out here, trying to pull those pinkies like you're trying to get them to touch. So really activating the arms here. Nice and strong, almost like you're going down a ski luge, right? Don't let the belly button flap, so keep that belly button activated or pulled towards the spine. Let's try and reach those pinkies a little bit closer together. Don't let those shoulders crunch up around your ears. Nice long neck, keep the gaze on the ground. Really strong. We're gonna hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fold forward, shake it out. Shake your arms out a little, your neck kind of roll from side to side, or shake your head to release. Beautiful. Inhale, rise to chair. So we're sitting back in this chair, nice and strong, grounded through the feet, hips really nice and set back, chest pulled forward, arms up and overhead or at your heart space, just wherever you want to be. We're going to slowly lower down from this chair. So 5 count, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit back, rise to boat pose. Yes, short and condensed today, staying nice and strong. Up in this boat pose, nice long spine. Think really long and strong, crown of the head all the way to your tailbone. If you want to bring your fingertips to the mat, you're more than welcome to. Keep those arms reaching forward. Nice and strong. We're staying for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lower down. Beautiful. Feet last to touch. Deactivate everything. Let it all shake out a little. Wiggle, embrace that energy. Let's do one counter movement to that boat pose. So run around a bridge, feet nice and grounded, hands resting on either side of the hips. Drive through the feet, rise up to bridge. Notice a difference between where we started with that first bridge to now, how much more open you might be to this pose. Exhale. Slowly lower down, one vertebrae at a time. Knees into your chest. Rock it out. Just hang out here for a little bit as we kind of let that energy come down that we just spent building up. So if you want to do some circles with your knees, or those circles we did going out wide, just keep it slow. As we ride this wave of energy we built up, start to ride it downstream. Deepen your inhale and your exhale here. So you do these gentle circles. Maybe circle, bring the knees towards you, exhale away. And notice how just your breath has the ability to calm you down so beautifully by just focusing on it. Notice how your energy has gone from vibrance to a bit more muted, but still there, just through the breath. Awesome. Now let's take those feet, place them back down on the mat, and let's just gently let the knees fall to the side, trying to keep both shoulders on the mat as possible. Left arm reaches out, take the gaze out to that left hand. Hopefully you have the space to do it. I don't have a whole lot of space on this left side. Just hang out here for a couple rounds of breath as we continue to ride that energy down. Beautiful. Gently bring everything back to center and then take it to the other side. So reach that right arm out and then just kind of letting both knees fall to the left side. Not letting them fall too crazy or fast, just guiding them over to the left. Try and keep both shoulders on the ground as much as possible. Gaze out to that right thumb, or close the eyes. Beautiful. Bring everything back to center. One last hug with the knees. Let's extend both legs out. Reposition on the mat. So I ended up super far down. My apologies. Reposition on the mat, or however you need to set up for Savasana. Do just quite briefly, but with just as much purpose as if we were to be here for a long time. So don't rush through it. Just once again, notice how different your energy is as opposed to the beginning of this practice. Embrace that change. Embrace this new being you might be just in this short amount of time. And take it into the rest of your day. If you're just feeling phenomenal right now, pay that energy forward. You're more than welcome to stay here for a few moments, just hanging out. If you feel like you want to have a bit more time to yourself, if you're not ready to walk out of this space yet, that's okay. But we will take 3 final breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Ride that wave of silence. After that exhale, that last one, feel the vibration that it left behind, that reverberation. And like I said, you're more than welcome to stay here, hanging out in this state. This is where I will leave you, a little bit different today. I will leave you here in this blissful state, really embracing those feelings of accomplishment, grace, and gratitude. Guide yourselves out whenever you wish, but just always please take one last moment to be as present as possible before you do so. Thank you so much for spending time with me, for the beautiful feedback I receive from you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, I love you, and I'll see you next round.